Hello and welcome to episode 185 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. That was quite a while ago. It's a very humid day, Jake, which is why I'll take that for some reason. It's rainy it's very rainy, but it's also very humid and I'm very warm. But it is Dex and Jake for you this week. And we will start the podcast as we always do. How are you, my friend? How has your week been?
My week been good. Little and back at school now, which is good. And I have massively slowed down. Like I said I was going to. A lot of people didn't think I was going to, but for me, it's been a massive slowdown after the transfer window. I've just been nice to have a break, not do much, plan some things, get some other things in the works as well. If you're a member on my channel, I've started vlogging for just the hell of it and just see what happens. And I'm actually kind of enjoying it, to be fair. I did a
vlogging. I'm not actually a member of your channel because I'm an awful friend, but I might have to be just to see the vlogs.
It's all iPhone.
Hello, this is a rowing machine.
I should really show that off and go, oh, it's still here.
You still have it?
Yeah, I still got it in my loft.
Oh, the infamous loft.
It was in here, and then I shifted it out because I kept on tripping over it, and I really should get it back because I'd knackered my shoulder again. Shock horror punk gets injured again. But it's been an interesting one with the little one going back to school. We're now trying to plan everything around when, because this is the last month that our lass is on maternity leave. She's back October, so it's then. I'm on full on looking after Hunter, who's trying to walk, trying to bite, which is slightly irritating. But apart from that, everything's been good. But the one thing I will say is 6 weeks holidays happen. Our little one lost all her manners, right? Like all her manners. She's in school for 4 days, gets star of the day for having great manners and the head teacher award on the Friday for having excellent manners. And I'm like, where the hell were they for 6 weeks?
No, she's one of those kids. I think I was one of those kids who would be really, really well-mannered and a delight at school. But when you get home, you're an absolute little hell beast.
Yeah, very much so.
That was me as a child.
Oh, it was just really...
And an adult, to be honest.
That doesn't fill me.
In public, I'm all right. At home, I'm just grumpy.
You're just getting into your man day ready. All you're missing now is your pipe.
I am. I've lost one of my slippers, so I'm not impressed.
You just need the dressing gown, the pipe, and the grey hair. You'll be one of those aging rockers that sits in the corner of the pub going, back in my day, we had this kind of music.
I'm already there, mate. I'm already like looking at the younger generations going, what are you saying?
Yeah.
What is this language you're using?
I am dreading the day when she comes home with all this like new language. I'm literally going to put headphones on and just let the world go by.
No, you got to correct that stuff because it's dodgy parenting, in my opinion. That's quite a wide statement, but like it needs to be corrected.
Let's just put it this way. Would you rather me correct it, who can't speak very well as it is, or my missus do it?
It's more of a case of just kids need to know how to speak properly.
Yeah, they do.
They don't need to pretend like they're
bad enough
gangsters. You see a lot of that, especially around Chef. Like these.
Oh, Sarah had it the other day that she had like just this young lad go, "What you doing, blood?" It's like, the what? No.
Well, no, but blood's an old thing. Blood's like old. Like the actual. It's more of a case of like, people know what I mean. If you scroll a reel, you'll see the new gen language, and it's like, right, okay. Because I've got to be careful not to start saying stuff ironically, because then it becomes part of your dialect.
Yeah.
Because that's how a lot of things join my dialect. I start taking the mick of them, and then it becomes part of my actual,
Like Jack.
But anyway.
Jack very annoyingly is doing the very demure kind of thing, and it's doing me head in.
I've started doing that, and I can't help it. It does my head in.
But I started
doing it to take the mick.
You see them all though, don't you? You see it all and you're like, oh yeah, And then it slowly goes into your
But it's like, it's
vocabulary.
because in my brain, it just sounds like I do it just like Harley Quinn, mate. So it's like, it's that sort of thing and it sticks in my brain and then I do it. So that's one thing that has stuck into my brain, unfortunately.
How's your week been?
Sorry, I spoke over you then. We've got a bit of a delay this morning, as always. It's been slow this week, actually, which I'm quite grateful for. Things will pick up over the next few weeks and get busier, as they always do. But I've been playing the Black Ops 6 beta.
Same.
In terms of gaming.
Decent, I like it.
It's the first Call of Duty I've enjoyed in quite a while. Yeah. Me and my mate played Modern Warfare 3, and I just don't like it. It's too fast. Black Ops 6 is still fast compared to what I'm used to, but you can play the game a little bit slower by the looks of it, and it does actually reward. Because I've got quite quick reflexes on games, but I tend to like. It's really helped that you can spec things into recoil. Because my problem is, I usually play hardcore on Call of Duty because I'll see an enemy first and I'll hit them first. Yeah. Right. But it's usually, if I'm on normal mode, I'll hit them and then the recoil, I just don't control the weapon very well. That sounds weird. To
be fair, going into the weapon inspector and going through that helps a lot. There's lots of things that you can do on like the gun range to like change it and make it like different parts. I think I think it helps that I'm going to start from day one with this Call of Duty, whereas we jumped into Modern Warfare 3 and it was just a mess. Everyone got every like OP gun known to man. Yeah, absolutely. There is already an OP gun in this beta that they've had to nerf already because everybody was using it the first weekend. That's that bloody jackal thing. It was absolutely
everybody. Because I was quite annoyed they nerfed it actually because on the last day of the beta last weekend, I spec'd into it and I was using it and I was like, this is quite good. But now I just use the starting assault rifle and I've got a perk that gives me like 7 mods on it and it's quite good. But yes. So this year I'm going to become a Call of Duty and a FIFA bro. What the hell? It's like I'm a teenager again.
What happened to you all of a sudden? Then again, that just shows you. That just shows you where the gaming market is at the minute.
But it's also a case of I'm trying to. I've moved, obviously, so it's a way of socializing as well. Because I heard Jake go, "You've crashed."
Yeah,
I'm still there. I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you, and I now can see you again. But you just all went quiet on your end.
Yeah, so did you. You froze as well. But yes, it's a way of socializing because I've moved, obviously. So I've moved region, which means I don't really have a lot of mates up here, if I'm brutally honest. And my circle was quite small anyway. So it's a case of you can jump on, socialize, and it's a nice way to actually stay social.
Jump in and play, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go off camera because I think we're having some technical issues today. Well, for some reason, our communications are just completely giving up on us. So that's great because we're doing an extra after this. It's the draft update today for our members, which I'm quite looking forward. Which I'm quite looking forward to doing.
You are?
Yeah, absolutely. So join the membership at any level if you want access to that extra when it comes out. I will also say, I did put a post for our Dollar Friend tier, which is the $4.99 tier and above on the channel. The next sticker batch is due to go out sort of at the end of the month. So if you haven't sent me your address and you're at that tier, and there is like a couple of members in that tier that haven't sent me their address, and they've been members for a little while, so you've not been getting your stickers. So to get the next sticker batch, make sure there's a post on the community tab that you can only see. You guys, if you're that level of membership, send your addresses to that email. Otherwise, I can't send you any stickers. And then the stickers go. And it does say in the membership things, there's a limited window. But thank you to those who have sent me your addresses. I don't want people missing out on what they're getting because I think people support us at that tier just to support, to be fair. But also, and get the extras. But also, there is stickers available for that. So, yeah, do that. But let's get into the Sheffield Wednesday portion. We did a transfer deadline day snooze fest, which means we didn't talk about the Millwall game. So we do have to dig it up, I'm afraid, even in this international break. Talk us through the Millwall game, Jake?
It was an all-auto game where for the first 10 minutes, we were good. We looked okay and we were playing decent stuff. And then we start letting teams get into games. And when we start letting teams get into games, we struggle. And the thing is, like, I saw an interesting fact about Masaba this week where he's actually quite one of the highest dribblers in the championship this season. We've got no end product. And that's our biggest issue with him going at the minute. Because there's no end product. And without any end product, we can't do what we're trying to do. And the issue is, if we don't have no end product, we're not going to have a chance of getting stuff done and the way we want to do. The goals they did go weren't great. They were just all easy set piece goals. And it was just an absolute nightmare to defend against and have issues again. And one of the biggest issues we had was, again, it's set pieces. Once again, it's set pieces. Every single time we get something going or just switching off. I thought the first goal, that we left them so much space on either wing when they were going forward. Like Bernard was trying to do the cover and break it down and then just couldn't. There was just so much room on that right-hand side for someone to put a cross in, and they did. And Jan Valery is just walking. I know you haven't been the biggest fan of Jan Valery this season at all, but in a situation like that, you can't be jogging back.
I've been a fan of him going forward, but like defensively, he's meant to be a defender, and it's not there. I will say there's a few people trying to dig out Max Lowe, which I don't get. Max Lowe's been solid, in terms of everything else. He's not been standout, but he's not been like, I don't get that, to be honest. So,
and I thought then the goals that we did concede, the corners, they're just simple bloody corners that you can defend. For the longest time, we have not good enough on corners, and we have not defended corners right. You really hope that this can get sorted. But again, I don't think the thing that people are saying, oh, Danny's on borrowed time here is wrong. He's not. This is we're a transitional team. Transitional teams
if anything, it's weirdly like it's brought us back down to earth in the point of our fan base needs to really rally behind this manager. You were rallying behind him when he did well. And we were like, oh, please don't steal him. And now we're like, oh, some people, the usual idiots are like, oh, Danny could be out sort of thing. Danny is still a developing manager. And what this shows to me is actually a case of if we stick by him through the hard parts, then when it comes good, it comes good.
Yeah.
You know, there's more loyalty between the manager and the fan base. If we turn on him at this point, or even like any point this season, really, he's not beyond reproach, by the way. It's a case of, I think his system, it is leaving us openly a bit defensively. He's obviously changed some things to the way we played at the end of last season, but he has shown in the past that he can adapt.
Yeah.
So I think he'll compromise his style of football slightly because he'll realize we are not there even yet. With an improved player base. We're not there yet. So he just needs to find the middle ground and utilize the strengths of the squad. But I do think he can do that.
He's shown he can do it. He did it last season. Like, the thing is, people who have been like digging him out, this is a bloke who came in when we were 13 points adrift and managed to keep us up. He knows how to get players back up and motivated again. It's going to take a bit of time. Like, I've seen people go, oh, he's had 6 weeks to implement. You can't change stuff in 6 weeks. It's just not possible. But it's also a case of we've had a load of new players that are bedding into the system, and it's going to take time. It's not going to be immediate. For me, this is actually, weirdly, this start, if he picks it up now, is ideal because it's probably warded off any interest that anybody would have had in him anyway. Yeah.
So it's a case of now the real project starts, the build starts, we build slowly. He is not beyond criticism.
We never started well either, let's be honest. When have we actually started well each season?
No, I know. But I think the mental side's a big deal of it. You know, we know Danny doesn't deal with that. There's people in the staff that do that. So you have to be able to actually criticize Danny on his tactics, because that's a lot of where it comes from. Danny is the tactician. Danny is the person who sets up the play and the way we play, right? The mental side of the game doesn't come from him. So it's a case of, if the tactics aren't working, then that is on him and he needs to fix it. But I do think with time he will do it.
Yeah.
So it's.
I think the worrying thing for this game was the fact these are the teams you want to be doing well again. These are teams who are going to be in and around
absolutely.
Us, where the first two teams before that were the way ahead of us. And I think for us, you get an Ubbo back in to proper fitness. Maybe you go with a Marvin Johnson style player as well, and you get Pole on as well, and we'll get into that later. Maybe it changes stuff around, because granted, I know it's the Cup and one was a Championship and one was a League 2 team, but the Cup team seemed like they fit the system a little bit better than the first team did, if that makes sense. So it's one of those ones where I think he plays around with personnel, he plays around with trying to, but also there's the part of me that goes, did he try and implement his system too quickly in preseason and go brute force, this is how we're going to do it? Or could he have done it gradually? But at the same time, I genuinely think you've got to let him do what he wants to do, because there's no point in coming in and then having to just go, oh, I'll have this and stick with this again. Like people go. I actually
think the problem is there's not enough cover in defense. You've got that Valerie, if he's going to be that attacking, you do need to play with the 3 and have a solid 3 at the back to cover for him, because it's just going to be a problem. I think Bernard's not at the putting in the performances he put in last season. Obviously, we've had injuries with Iorfa.
Yep.
I stressed on deadline day we needed to bring in a centre back, and then the next day we did that.
Yeah.
You know, and we're still looking. There's obviously free agents. I know there's a lot of talk about the Newcastle centre back and stuff. I looked at his stats, right? I can't say I know loads about him, right? But he hasn't played enough for me to say that. But in terms of bodies,
anybody who comes in as a free agent, you're still going to be waiting a month at least for him to be.
Yeah, exactly. But also, if I look at his career history, like on paper, he doesn't look fantastic in terms of defensively, but the game's not played on paper, so he might come in and fit the system.
Yeah.
The one that what's his name? What is his name? He's 32. I know that. I was looking at him last night. Newcastle defenders. I know he was released recently. It's annoying me now. People are going to be screaming it on the podcast, by the way, as we do this.
I've forgotten as well.
It's annoying me. I'm going to keep it over because we've already had to make 2 cuts, because I've actually had to phone Jake now.
Oh, I see. I criticised Josh Windass, so you get him in to do it instead then.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Are you trying to find it rapidly like I am as well?
Is it Paul Dummett?
Yes. Thank you. He's the one that's been bandied about a lot.
Yeah.
But I looked at his history, and I'm not convinced that. But to be honest, we need depth.
We need bodies, especially now we've got Iorfa and Valerie injured, but it doesn't help. But this is what we said on deadline day: the two places we don't have cover is midfield and defence.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just. We also didn't bring many striking options in terms of we could have done with another striker up there. Lucas Shaw's obviously still free.
Yep. Can you imagine if he came back?
Would be interesting.
If you actually go to the club website now, the defenders are Palmer, Lowe, Bernard, Iorfa, Valerie, Femoota, Whitway, and Paul. Your midfield is Chalobah, Ingleson, Lowe, Bannon, Windass, Johnson, Fuser, and Charles. And your forwards are now Ubbo, Patterson, McNeil, Kabachi, Smith, Gassama, Cads, and Masaba. But I don't know why they've not put Cads on loan yet. That's weird. But if you actually take Masaba, Kabachi, and Gassama out, you're left with 4 strikers.
Right, okay.
Because that's Smith, Patterson, Ubbo.
It's not ideal in terms of depth, is it?
No. But I think that's why we got more faces left.
I think we just need to be patient. Patience was always going to be the thing this season, but that 4-0 on the opening day has actually served us not very well. We need to batter QPR. We need to pick ourselves up when we come back. But that's going to be difficult in itself. Let's look at the rest of it. It's interesting to note, by the way, that's the first time we've been sort of like, well, not the first time, but it's you look at the stats and their attack was a lot better than ours, even though we controlled possession. And we've seen it a lot more even in previous games. So like their shots were 18 to our 4 shots on target to our 1, 7 shots off target to our 1.
Those stats are like where we were around November, December time when Pato and Cads were having to lead the line. And then we brought in Ugbo and Pervader, and they started going up. Our XG started going up. So if we can get back to those levels, it'd be good.
It would. Right, let's do the championship review. So it was a week ago now, but Luton Town lost at home to QPR 2-1, and we've got QPR next, so that's going to be interesting. Burnley 1, Blackburn 1, Cardiff 0, Middlesbrough 2, Coventry 0, Norwich 1, Millwall 3, Wednesday 0, West Brom 1, Swansea 0, Portsmouth 1, Sunderland 3, Leeds 2, Hull 0, Plymouth 0, Stoke 1, Oxford 3, Preston 1. Oxford are staying up.
Yeah.
Derby really 3. Yeah, they do. Derby 3, Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1, Watford 0. So, Wednesday need to pick it up. That's evident.
The fact
and it's an international break, so it's like a mini pre-season in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, the fact that Danny said after the game they need to wake up and are quite serious, I think that's a glowing indictment. I think that's the right word. I don't know. Of where we are and what we need to do. But he's thing is, what I like about Danny, he's honest. Maybe a little bit too honest at times when he talks about tactics and stuff. But you notice when he started talking about transfers, he stopped talking about transfers heavily. Maybe he'll start not giving too much away tactically. But he won't come out and go, oh, well, we had this much possession and we just couldn't get the ball. No, he'll say it's not good enough. And I like that.
Yeah, I think it's a case of he owns up and he talks well. So he just the mental side of the team needs to be something, because what I don't like is when we start to concede goals, we don't just concede the odd goal, we start to concede a flood.
Yeah, battered.
And that's not great. That obviously.
Goal difference.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into the news. So, Sheffield Wednesday add a under-21 striker to the ranks. The Owls under-21s have bolstered the ranks with the addition of striker George Brown. The 18-year-old has enjoyed a successful trial spell with Andy Holdsworth's squad and has signed his first professional contract at Hillsborough. Brown has featured 6 times for Wednesday, including throughout pre-season, and has scored twice, most recently in our 2-2 draw with Bournemouth last time out at Middlewood Road. The striker is a product of the UFCA, Ultimate Football Coaching Academy, a private academy based in Leeds and headed up by former player Isaiah Rankin. Brown joined the UFCA as an under-13 and has risen all the way through their ranks to gain an opportunity with the Owls. On signing his maiden contract, the youngster was joined at Hillsborough by his family, Rankin and UFC assistant manager Cole Young. Brown told SWFC.co.uk, quote, "This is something every kid dreams of. I've joined a massive club. It's a great achievement and I can't wait to get started now. The intensity levels go up, the speed of the play goes up, but it's important not to overthink things at times. You've just got to play your football and hopefully that is good enough to impress. I've really enjoyed my time at UFCA. They are a private academy and teach you how a pro team plays their expectations. They help you develop and they give you an opportunity and help you get trials with pro clubs. It's tough when you first come in, but I've been around the lads and enjoy playing with them, and hopefully I will get many more goals during the season. Andy is a top coach and makes sure you are pushing yourself every day. He sees the best in you, the talent you've got, and make sure you are constantly raising your standards and doing the right things in training. We've got some good games coming up at Hillsborough, and that's what's something to look forward to. There's no better feeling than playing in a stadium. Are the under-21s playing in the stadium now?
Yep.
That's good. I always forget. My memory has been so bad lately. But another striker in at the 21s. Hopefully he can follow in the footsteps of our recent strikers there. We've got quite good firepower. Do you know what I am? We don't seem to be bringing through defenders.
No. Not what we need.
Which is not always the worst thing, actually, because you always want somebody that can score your goals. But it does seem like that's the focus of our academy at the minute. That's where we're going to get money, though, churning through strikers. So I'm not fully against it, but we could do
it's
some...
smart. I think it's a smart deal, this.
Yeah.
And also, you notice how many more the private academies are popping up because people can't get into some clubs. So old former players are going, look, I am sick to death of young lads not being able to go and play football. So we're going to do our own academy, and you go for that. We had it when we got Auditorium, if you remember. You came through that one down south, the London Academy. And it just seems like more of the little academies are popping up to help players get into the game than going down the traditional route of going to a Prem or a League One Championship, League Two club to try and get minutes and get things going.
Yeah. And that's what we want, because we're going to move into the next story now and talk about our squad list. So Wednesday we've announced a squad list. It's a 22-man list. Here's the thing about youth, bringing through youth. We've got first team players now that don't count as a registration, which has left us with some space, because the likes of McNeil, Pierce Charles, Fusire or Fusiri, and Gassama are all under 21s categorized, which means they can play for the first team, but they don't count as a registration slot. Beadle has to count as a registration slot because he's on loan.
And add does Shay Charles.
Yes, because Shay Charles would also fit that. But that means we've got 3 spaces because those players, I think it's 3, isn't it? We've got 3 left.
Defender, midfielder, striker, like we said earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to be utilising the free transfer slot, because obviously we've got Calamarchi as well in the under 21s if he came back off loan.
Yeah.
So it's not like he would take a slot, which is really clever. It's a really clever.
It's actually really smart footballing brain in the admin side of it.
Yeah, that's the benefit of bringing in young players that can play in the first team rather than bringing in the sort of like old experienced players that fill up your squad in the championship, which is what we've needed, really.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I think the thing is, you get the players in, it works out well, and we're not having the situation we had last year where we're leaving someone out for the sake of leaving someone out because we can't fit them in. So you're not causing that discourse of like, oh, we're going to have to leave you out because I can't fit you in. And then having all the issues this time last year, we had the whole Marvin Johnson saga happening. And we're not having that this year. We've got very good players in who know what they're doing. And then the under 21 can float in. Like if you get someone like the Rio Shipton or Bruno Fernandes doing well in the under 21s, maybe they get called up to a couple of games and you go, right, you're going to play. If we do have an issue in, say, defense like we say, Sam, are you up for playing a game in the first team some game? Because the thing is, what we've got now is our under 21s will mimic what the first team is doing in terms of how everything goes. So if someone has to step up, it's not going to be a massive culture shock. It's going to literally be, right, I know how to play this. I have done this for the last 6 to 12 months. I get it. I know how I'm playing. I can slot into this. Perfect. Done. And I think this is something we have not done for so many years. For so many years, the under 21s have played one way and the first team have played another. And when you get a new player come in, it's been a complete culture shock because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what position they're in. Now you've got it where it mimics it from 21 to probably under 13, where they'll get used to that. And if you get that down the line in the future, That's where you get these players who step up, who don't look like deer in headlights when they're playing first team football.
No, absolutely. It's the way I wanted us to do it for a while. I actually bring those players in, and so some people go, why are the under 21s? That means they can't play. And I'm like, oh my God, guys.
I had it this week saying you look at Real Madrid's under they can play like 16-year-olds in their first team. I'm like, yeah, and they've been at the club since they were 5 playing that way.
Yeah, no, but some people actually didn't realise that if you were registered as an under 21, you could play in the first team. And I was like, basic football knowledge, lads. Come on.
Yeah.
Moving on to a story from the Star. Sheffield Wednesday defender Jan Valery will not be playing for Tunisia in the current international break. The 25-year-old was named in the Owls squad for the games against Madagascar and Gambia this month. But, however, after picking up an injury in training, it has now been confirmed that he's been ruled out of both. Jake, Valery injury. Oh dear.
Yeah.
In terms of the going forward. For me, personally, it's not going to help Jack's draft because Valery's actually... Do you know what's amazing? And I'll say this as part of... We're going to talk about this on the extra. Valery consistently puts in 7+. He gets one of the best ratings in every game because of his attacking movement, which just shows you how much the game isn't played on paper because defensively, it's not there.
He was brought in to be an attacking fullback anyway. Let's be...
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But what do you think on this? Do you think it's... Obviously, we don't want players injured. We want Danny to have the full...
I am slightly worried because it's another calf injury because this is the same thing Chalobah had. Chalobah got a calf injury. Now Valery got a calf injury. That makes me go, okay, that's not something... One's like, okay, it's happened, but two calf injuries make you wonder what's gone either wrong in the training or is there too much training? We know how hard Danny works them and how intense he is. Now, for me, it is a blow for the player, but I actually think this is the perfect opportunity for Paul Valentin to come in. And I think Paul Valentin, when he come in and played so far, he had been outstanding.
Apart from against Hull.
Yes.
I don't know what he was doing. I don't know who came on the pitch in place of Paul Valentin in his brain against Hull, but that is one of the worst performances I've ever seen him put in.
Yeah, he kind of just went, I've been fouled. No, I haven't. Oh dear, goal. But the thing is, I think Paul will really step up. I
hope so.
Do.
I hope so.
But you've got a couple. You've got Paul who could play there. You could put Palmer there.
Yep.
So we have got options if need be. And I think if you rotate it between those two, maybe you start Palmer and then you put Paul on it in the second half. I think that thing, give him time to rest up, get back, and let's see how bad the tear is because depending on the grade, it could be back earlier than anything.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to skip quite a lot of the news stories we've got in here. It's going to be quite a short podcast this week because it's the international break and I'm not just going to pad it out for the sake of it. A lot of the talk has been about like articles based on like Danny trying to basically bounce back over the international break. So the one thing I do want to talk about, Steve Bruce.
I knew they were coming.
Steve Bruce is back in football management and Sheffield Wednesday will be playing him in 2 games' time because he is Blackpool manager.
Yeah. Oh, it's... God.
What's funny is I feel like I have to screen this one now for the memories and the memes.
Oh, here we go. Do you know how often I get recommended that video on a weekly basis?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it might have to be like the thumbnail of that video with the stream and do that because that's just an unexpected stream thing that's coming and I've just remembered I need to send you the schedule. But yeah, I never do cup games, but I feel like that one would be very fitting. So we'll definitely talk about doing that because I'm just saying you've got the Bristol City game after that, so that was. Yeah, so I think the way it'll work is because the Blackpool one was like a thrown-in one. I'll do that for the memes.
Right.
I'll do the West Brom one, then you do the Bristol one, and then we've got Swansea and Portsmouth, and we've got loads of late night matches coming up, so there's going to be a lot of streaming, which is good. But yeah, I think for the memes, that has to be done. But Steve bloody Bruce, Jake.
To be fair, let's call it what it is. We all should have seen this coming. His backroom staff was already there.
Yeah, but also, actually, I think we're not giving him enough credit. Blackpool's his childhood club. He can't miss this opportunity.
Well, if if he does well at Blackpool, he can go be the Jamaica manager afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel sorry.
I watched some videos of McLaren. You saw that, didn't you? Oh, it's been brilliant. But no, Steve Bruce, he's let's just say on the other side, like he's a good manager for that level.
Oh, for League One, he's excellent. He's been out of the game for a while. Let's call it what it is. He had been out of the game for a little bit, but I genuinely actually think this is going to be quite smart for them. But he's going to have to hit the ground running. Now, here's something as well. We won't be facing Ashley Fletcher because he's been suspended for violent conduct.
Oh,
because he punched that Wigan player.
Surely that gives Blackpool an advantage.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Can Steve Bruce get Jordan Rhodes back up to speed for him?
I can't believe Jordan Rhodes is still playing, to be honest.
That feels like such a throwback as well.
He's going to score a hat-trick past us now. But no, it'll be an interesting one with that. Obviously, when Wednesday come back off the international break, I'm thinking, have we got a podcast between now and then? No, we don't. So our next podcast will be after the QPR game. So what are you feeling about going into QPR? Obviously, there's still a bit of pre-season to go before that, but...
We need a win. Very, very simple.
Yes.
We need a win, but QPR has started very, very well. Their XG is ridiculous. And Dembele, who we've wanted and you've wanted him for years, has started ridiculously well and looked really good.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Same. We have to go and play well at home because Danny can't afford to have another loss. And
no.
The thing
their away record is better than they've not lost away, by the way, at the minute.
No.
So they've got 5 points at the minute, which is not like loads, but they've only lost once, and that was at home. Their record is 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss. So
a decent win versus Luton, though.
Yeah, exactly. So they've won 1 and drawn 1 away. So 4 of their 5 points have come on the road. So it's not going to be ideal in that regard.
It'll be tough. I think it'll be
We just need
tough.
to sort it out. It's going to be a big tell of what work Danny's been able to do over the international break. What doesn't help them is we have got internationals now. So the fact that like Bernard's away is a problem.
Lowe's away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a problem. That is a problem.
You can't actually get seated down to go, right, we need to fix this. And then
Bernard's a big one for me because for me it was the defensive unit. I don't get because in that game against Plymouth, and it's probably because Plymouth weren't a very good side, but I watched the way the defense moved as a unit, and I've not ever since that one match I've not seen us do that.
No,
I don't know what
it's dropped
changed.
off completely.
Yeah,
it's like either something changed tactically, or again with this squad they do tend to go back to previous ways. They have done it in the past. Because you've got to remember, even though it's a new squad, we've still got a lot of other players from previous regimes. And I think sometimes you do see that drop off all of a sudden. Like during the Millwall game, the amount of time Beadle came out with the ball, but he was waiting for ages for someone to come close to come in. Get it? What's annoyed me in nearly all the games I've watched so far this season is you've always got someone in defence immediately gesturing to a midfielder to come forward, come get the ball off me, come stand here. And every game there's a defender going, you're not close enough. And if they are getting close enough,
I wish Saliba wasn't injured because he's one of the most vocal. When he plays, we need that. We need the leadership there.
But look at also whenever we've had it where we've had a throw-in, the throw-ins are taking ages because nobody wants it. And that's a problem for me because you need to want the ball. And you want to have that. And that's got to be something that gets improved. They got to be closer. We can't be the system where they are so far apart each time, because that's where we're getting caught, because a player can just slot in, get the ball and go on the break. And that's where we're struggling.
Do you drop Masaba?
The problem is, if you're dropping, you've got to put Olaf in then.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion. Do you put Kabaki in instead of...
Maybe put Kabaki in and then you have Olaf as your impact player off the bench.
You mean Masaba off as your impact player?
Yeah. And you have him as your impact player. And see, but the thing is, the stats don't lie. His dribbling stats are actually really good. The problem is,
I think Danny needs to go to. You can't get rid of the creativity of the player, right? No. But Danny needs to have said to him this international break: you either start lifting your head up and looking for the cross if you're not going to finish it, or you're getting dropped.
Yeah,
because he is a great dribbler. He can beat a man. That's fine. Make the bloody pass.
Yeah.
We need to start scoring goals. Yeah, exactly. So either take the shot early, score the bloody goal, or pass. Because I am getting tired of not seeing the creativity. Because do you know what I love? I love the way he's up for it, and he doesn't let his head drop, and he continues to beat people. That's great. Pass the bloody ball.
Yeah. There was so many times where he got chances as well, and he just didn't.
But it's also a case of he needs to take the shot as well. So if you're going to beat a man, you're in a position to take the shot, take the shot.
Yeah.
Either take the shot or pass it. But what happens is he takes too long when he beats a man and he loses possession. So you've got to do one of those two things. Have a chance, pass the ball.
You know, if he got a goal of it would probably do confident the world of good, and you'd probably get 3 or 4.
It would. I'm not trying to dull his creativity as well, because I don't want him to lose that side of it. Don't ever be afraid to take somebody on, but you need to be more decisive. Yeah. Those dribbling stats mean nothing if you've got no end product.
Yeah.
I do want a little bit. Go on.
I like to see potentially McNeil as a 10 as well next game, just behind Ugbo.
That'd be interesting. I'm quite glad Patterson's not gone, because I think we're gonna end up utilising him now quite a bit. But yeah, before we wrap this up, I just want to talk a little bit about the England squad. And I know there's other international viewers, so just indulge on this for a little while. It's a little bit different this time, so I just want to know your thoughts on it. So we've also got Beadle training with them. He's not in the squad, but Beadle is training with the actual first team of the England squad keepers, which include Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson and Nick Pope. So not too bad at all for Beadle there, is it? It's caused quite the divide with the other side of the city. Yeah,
it does make sense when you think about who the manager is, because of where he's been. The fact that he's going to start Jack Grealish makes me very happy, because it's like you are using what we got, and that's what we need. Like, you're not going to. So
we're recording this before the England-Ireland game, by the way, just so you're aware. But yeah, carry on.
The fact that you're not going to have Bellingham, you're going to need that creativity, and Grealish has got that and then some. So if you can start Grealish, that gives you at least a chance.
Well, I think it's like you've got Kyle Walker, Konsa, Colwell's been called up. I think that's a good shout. Harry Maguire. Do you know what's amazing is, like, Harry Maguire has fought through a lot of stuff, and I think he could still be a solid player in a 3. They need to get him in a 3 at a club. John Stones, Rico Lewis being called up, Mark Gay, Trent, Declan Rice, Angel Gomez from Lille. So he's going to be interesting. Bobby Mainu.
Whittaker, a good shout as well.
You what, sorry?
Morgan Whittaker, not Whittaker, Morgan.
Gibbs White, yeah. Morgan Gibbs White's there. Cole Palmer did get called up but withdrew. Conor Gallagher got called up. Phil Foden got called up, but I also believe he withdrew. Eze, Kane, Madueke, who's been really, really good. Jared Bowen, Anthony Gordon, Ollie Watkins, who also withdrew. And then Bukayo Saka got called up as well. So I can't remember who the replacements were for those players that withdrew, but I'm interested to see. He's gone quite bold. I think certain injuries have given him the opportunity to call certain players up and try it, but I want him to do well, but it's also a case of like, I know the FA are going to give him the job, so he's really got to do well.
Mm.
The FA will take the easy option of giving him the job.
Oh,
it worked for Spain, but it's whether he has the balls basically to play like the under-21s played when there's that much pressure on the first team.
I generally think he got to. I think if he wants the job, he got to. But
it'll be mental if we see like, if we don't see two holding midfielders.
Right, look at this. Look at this for what it is. Remember when Southgate got the job? We had a load of under-21s that he worked with come in. Load of players got dropped, and it came because they've worked with him before. It's the same model again.
Yeah.
In reverse. He going with what he knows with the under-21s or players he's worked with before who are maybe not have been in the England core scene like Gomez, and Gomez is the prime example, ripping it up in France, doing really well, but had never been on that because he's not in the top 6 or he's not in England. Right? He had gone, if you're good enough and you play well, I am going to get you in this squad. That's what we need. We need to stop this stupid, you're top 6, you get in. Nah. Southgate did really well at dropping that and then reverted back to it all of a sudden. And I don't know if that was pressure from the FA, pressure from clubs, but he went back to it. And the most success he had was when he was getting England players who were here, there and everywhere, playing in the squad, then it just being, they play in the top 6, that's your squad. When he reverted back is when we started to have issues.
He also got really stubborn as well, and Southgate had his favourites, so that was never ideal. But yeah, have you got anything to add before we wrap up this episode of the podcast? Obviously, there's a Wednesday game coming on, but it's quite quiet at the minute, and I'm going to enjoy the week without a Wednesday battering, I think.
To be fair, I'm just going to get myself ready for the week ahead with everything that's going on in terms of it. I'll get back to a bit of a normality like with my situation with videos, because when it comes to the international break, I do like the break, but me much as anyone, I need to be busy. So me doing other things is interesting to try and keep my brain going. So I find a bit of solace in being busy, but when it's quiet, I have to then find other things to do. And that's the difficult part. In a week or so, it won't be an issue. I'll be playing EAFC too much and just doing that. But
yeah, I'm really looking forward because I've got a load of content plans for it, which I'm sure people will be happy about because I've been bugged all year. So yeah, I'm gonna hit that game quite hard. I've got a lot of plans for it. So watch this space.
But yeah, just look after yourselves. It is starting to get dark and grayer, but just enjoy it for what it is. And hopefully we'll be talking next week with a win under our belts.
Indeed. And we're going to go and record the draft update now for just 99p. This series is available for all members. So if you want to watch it, just consider supporting, click join and hear.
It's cheaper than a flake.
Yeah, indeed. Definitely. It's hear some embarrassment and Jake cry about his draft score. But that's it for this week's episode of Talking Wednesday. Take care, guys. Not cake, guys. Take care, guys. So we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.